everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Murray Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from our studio at the edge of the Great Red Divide in Marseilles, Illinois. And Murray, today we're going to talk about Super Tuesday.
The race for president is heating up. We've seen several folks leave the race. Yesterday, after the South Carolina primary, we saw Tom Steyer exit the race. He had a great reason why, and my hat's off to him for doing that, for understanding he didn't have a path. So now we're down to Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and Tulsi Gabbard. She hasn't dropped out yet.
Yeah, and you forgot Michael Bloomberg.
Ah! Sorry, I forgot Michael Bloomberg. All right.
How can you forget him? He's everywhere. He's even at the bottom of our YouTube videos. He doesn't pay us for that. He pays YouTube, but it's really amazing that he's at the bottom of our videos.
One of the things that is really, really funny, because I think he would find that wouldn't be the best advertising for him.
Probably not his audience.
Hey, when my 11-year-old says, I don't like that guy. Why, honey? And he goes, because he's everywhere, and his videos are taking up mine. I'm like, oh, there you go. All right. So out of the mouth of babes.
Yeah.
But Super Tuesday will be really interesting as we roll in. It's the first time that Mike Bloomberg will actually be on ballot.
Yes. And I'm curious to see how he's going to do. He's spent a lot of money, but then most of his reinventing himself on his commercials has been debunked in the debates. Mike will get it done. He'll get an NDA done. He'll get stop and frisk done. What else will he get done?
I don't know. I know everyone is talking about how Bernie and Joe appear to be the two front runners, and how
what an interesting conundrum.
Right. Of course, they're really the only ones still left in it. How many states have we actually had?
Four.
Okay,
yeah.
We've had 4 states. Each with their own challenges.
Yeah, nobody has you have to have 1,991 votes to be delegates to win. And I think Bernie's got like 48 and he's in the lead.
And we've declared that, Bernie and Joe will be the winners. So let's not forget, like I said, this is the first time that Bloomberg is on. So will Bloomberg pull votes from the Bernie crowd? Unlikely.
Very unlikely.
But will it drop from the Biden or Buttigieg crowd?
I think Biden, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar will be hurt the worst by the Bloomberg campaign, and some not friendly fire, but I think to a certain extent Warren will just be pushed to the bottom. And I'm a huge Warren supporter, but I think she's getting lost in the noise.
She is.
The sensibility.
The white male noise.
Oh my God. I'm so sick of the white male noise. Listen, men, we know you tune in, but we're tired of you drowning us out. And you ask us why we march. You're watching it. You're watching it because you have people with identical platforms, and one is drowning out the other. Why? His plumbing's on the outside and hers is on the inside. Their age is the same, but for some reason that patriarchy takes over and drowns the entire.
And it goes farther with the media coverage, right? Pundits are talking about it. They wrote off the women before the women. Then Amy had a great comeback with a couple of great debates, and she got back into the conversation. But the coverage of her was limited compared to the coverage of Pete Buttigieg when he had a good debate.
Yes.
So they're being marginalized and I'm not even sure that the media knows that that's what they're doing. I don't know if it's intentional. That's just how much we have been conditioned.
Right. They will leave them off of
polls.
They'll leave them off of polls. They'll leave them off of graphics on TV. I have seen graphics where it has had and normal local television where it has all the men, and Klobuchar and Warren are suspiciously absent. I'm like, what happened to them?
Considering that Elizabeth has the third most delegates.
I know.
It's not okay. So
we look at this and we think this is the white male noise that we hear all the time, and the fact that women can't get a foot in the door. The ceiling is not glass, Murray. It's concrete. It's reinforced concrete, and I don't know that we'll ever get through it in my lifetime. Sometimes it just feels that so
Sometimes we just have to keep,
oppressive.
but we just have to keep chipping away.
Oh my God!
I mean, look at
yeah.
Shawshank Redemption. It took him how many years to tunnel out of Shawshank?
Shawshank
Yet he did
Redemption,
it. He
yes.
had to crawl through a football field worth of crap
Yes,
to get to freedom.
carrying a bar of soap.
We've already had to do that, but we're just gonna keep crawling and chipping, guys. We can do this.
You know, in
100 years, maybe,
next Saturday,
when the Amazons take over, and then all men are just put in pens to be utilized as necessary.
well, next weekend I go to
Fingers crossed.
a gala for the LaSalle County Democrats, our annual fundraising dinner. And we're supposed to dress as suffragettes. So I do have a fabulous white outfit that my friend that has a costume store had for me, and an amazing hat. And I wanted a huge hat, but then I decided I'd hit people on either side of me at the dinner table, so I got a different hat. Although the thought of, people, it's my space. You can't come into my space because my hat is so huge, So
I
that
like
had
that.
some
I
appeal.
like that. We need to wear more hats. That's a
Oh,
good
big hat. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, I was really excited about doing this this gala, and I thought, here we are, 100 years later, still celebrating our the men giving us the right to vote, and we can't even get a frickin' foot in the door to make sure that we're heard on planks for the platform, much less coming through as a presidential candidate,
As our
a
episode
viable one.
showed not long ago when we talked about the bigger tent, page 34 of the Democratic platform for 2016 was where we began to address women and women's issues.
And a woman was at the top of the ticket, Marie.
And that is what we're talking about. I had, so yesterday I was working and I had a ding dong, and the dog's like,
Yeah, that's like,
You know.
when you come to my house, don't ring the bell because you're going to get the dogs involved, and nobody wants that.
yeah, seriously.
Text me and tell me you're here,
Absolutely. It's crazy. So I step out, and, we usually open the door and crawl out to the porch so they can't lick
Yeah.
someone to death.
Right.
And it's this Bernie kiddo, and he was in his, Will County did their Bernie kickoff.
Oh, that's right.
Saturday.
Will
So
County is a
he
big
was out.
Bernie contingent.
Big Bernie contingent.
They all
in Will
have pinwheel
County.
eyes and
They, you know what? There's a lot of support for him out there. So this kid came and knocked on my door, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to take Michael's stuff too while you're going? Michael Crowner for state senate. You're walking the neighborhood. You might as well, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, so he said, well, are you supporting Bernie in the? And I said, yeah,
No.
not so much. I said, of course, if he primaries, I will be there. But he's like, well, may I ask
Why?
right? And I said, I just don't think his temperament is what we need right now.
Yeah.
And even though he's not always angry, he seems like an angry man. And I don't think that is I said, you got one angry old white guy in Trump. You got an angry old white guy in Bernie. There's no distinction
And
there.
for those of us that have, like Marie and I, that have been in the workplace and we have angry old white guys pointing at you and making sure you do stuff with crazy eyes and wild hair, I've had it. I don't want to live through that again.
And now listen, I think, I just feel my gut tells me, like my 17-year-old said to me, I was really struggling with who to support because I was getting trapped in that hole. Who's really going to be the winner? Who stands a chance? I was getting wrapped up in the political bubble. And my son, who's 17, said, and I'm like, I just don't know. He said, Mom, who do you think would be who does this country need right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, Elizabeth Warren. And he said, then that's your answer. Now, I'm not advocating for you to vote for Elizabeth Warren by any stretch.
I am.
I am. Yeah, okay. I am merely saying that whoever you choose someone that you think the country needs. Not who the pundits think will win.
Not who the pundits push forward, as the most viable candidate.
Not who the media or social media look at the platforms, look at the people, the
And vote
people
with your heart.
themselves, and decide who would do the best job.
Yeah.
Not any of the other crap.
Well, here is why that's so important, Marie. I don't need your microphone.
Hey, it just attacked.
Here's why it's so important is that when we develop the platform, the planks of the platform that go in, that are released at the convention in July, they're going to look at who garnered the most votes, the most popular votes. What part of their platform was really popular? And the reason you want to be sure and do that is you want those planks put in. So even if your candidate was Andrew Yang and his platform didn't go through, they're going to pay attention, even though he's rescinded his candidacy or stepped back from it. They're going to take a look at what he brought to the table. They're going to take a look at what Tom Steyer brought to the table, what Eric Swalwell brought to the table.
And the supporters that they had, they're going to look at that and say, okay, well, we
Hickenlooper.
hope they look at that
Yeah.
and say that this is things that are really important to our party,
Right.
to us as Democrats.
Right.
So it is important to choose who you believe really represents you
Your values.
and who you think would do the best at fixing the country. Go
Well,
with your gut.
And so we were talking about Warren and Sanders having a nearly identical platform. Would you want to hear, I guess it's, do you want a lecture from your mad grandpa or your mom? Oh, God, that's really hard. But, you know, or who do you want to lecture Donald Trump? Mad grandpa or your mom? I'd want my mom to take out Donald Trump. I know my mom would eviscerate him because she's tough.
Yeah, I would definitely want to see
And then
my mom
guide-
take
because-
him out as opposed to.
Yeah, because what happens is after we elect someone, Murray, then the real work begins. We have between the election on November 3rd and we declare a winner. And when we install them in the Oval Office on January 20th, 2021, and I've got a red heart around that day on my calendar already because I'm excited. I think that's when the big work gets started. And you can't sit down then. Those of you that have become resistors and activists in this last 3-4 years, this is when your voices are going to be even more important because we have to push the platform forward. We have to keep elevating the party, and we have to hang on to that House and Senate for that full 4-year term of whoever we elect. And then, as I've said, I think for 30 years beyond that, because we have a lot of ground to make up. We have lost so much ability to govern in this country, not just from the current president, but going back even is we've gone historically on the fairness doctrine and a few other things that we need to reinstall. The fact that the FEC is gutted, the fact that we have a looming pandemic and the CDC is gutted, the fact that we can't seem to row with both oars when we're talking to other countries. We are going to need leadership out there, not just for 4 years, not just for 8 years, not just for 12 years,
For
but
a long
time. So you can't rest on your activist laurels. You have to keep bringing those banners forward and keep pushing.
Absolutely.
So
You can take a little break, though, because the last 4 years have been really exhausting.
so
when we flip the Senate and we keep the House and we have a
Competent president.
Sane?
competent.
Sane, whatever, administration in Pennsylvania Avenue. Once we have that January 21st,
January
2021,
20th.
January 20th,
About
of
3 o'clock.
2021, that is, we can take a few months to recuperate because I think a lot of the country will have PTSD.
The first 100 days,
And
just let whoever we elect
just
let
take
'em-
that time
just-
and breathe.
and know that you are able to count on your government again. That first
And
100
then
days, you're going to
jump
get
back
shit
in
done
after that 100 days
and start working
and working toward
because we'll
what
have
we believe.
congressional races to win right after that. And in 2015 you'll have your, or not 2015, 2021 you'll have your local elections, your mayors and school boards and governors and that sort of thing. So you have to work on that. And then the following year in 2022, all of our Congress people are up for re-election, and we need to make sure that we hang on to that House.
So we have a lot of work to go.
We have to be wary of a rise of a new Tea Party.
Yes.
The alt-right is coming for you, you know? So, and they get mad. When they lose, they get really mad. So we need to make sure that we keep up our intensity. And part of that intensity is here in the primary, letting the Democratic National Committee know what's important to you, so you vote with your heart. I like to think of it, there's a pandemic coming, and I don't know, we're not prepared to fight off coronavirus. We're just not ready. And the United States has been the leader in keeping SARS and Ebola contained, and MERS contained in the past. And we've really dropped the ball because we're completely unprepared. Not only are we unprepared, but our current president has taken steps to make sure that we're not prepared or protected. Who would you want leading that fight? You know, so when I think about that, I know who comes to mind for me to wash your hands and let's do this and let's do that. Who has a plan for that, Marie? You know, already in place.
I think she's pitching Elizabeth again.
Well, but I think about all of those candidates that are out there that we named at the beginning of the show. All of them are going to do a better job than Orange Caligula. All of them.
Well, primarily because all of them believe in science.
And they all believe
that's a big bonus when you're running a nation and keeping people healthy and not having people die.
They're
and
not afraid to surround.
Science is kind of a good thing.
And they surround themselves with smart people, which our current president can't stand. They surround themselves. They know when they're weak in areas, and they make sure that they have experts, and they give them the microphone to talk. Right now, even our CDC is muzzled. Everything has to go through Mike Pence. Let's create STDs in Indiana, you know, vice president. So not a good place for us to be right now. We need a strong leader who is...
So I think Heidi's right. You know, as you approach Super Tuesday, and
Yep.
then Illinois is right afterwards, think about that as well. You think, trust your gut.
Yes.
Don't listen to the pundits.
Yep.
And Heidi, you just made a beautiful point. You know, think about what we're going through right now is a bit of a shit show. I'm sure, you know, only about 2 million of us will die, Americans.
I rolled my eyes.
Only about
case
2
you couldn't
million
see
will
that.
die. We're probably okay. Hope that for the best. But if you don't die and you do vote, think about who would be the best at handling a crisis like this,
Right.
or a natural disaster,
Who's gonna-
or a terror attack. That's
Yeah.
something we get caught up on, and who can beat Trump. But you're right. We need to think about terror attack, natural disaster, plague, as we're seeing
Pandemics,
right
yeah.
now. Who would
Climate
be the
crisis.
best to handle that?
Who's going to step into the pitch and swing for the fences?
I think Elizabeth Warren is the smartest of all of them.
Well, I think you've got.
Although
a
if
point.
you're going intelligence, Mayo Pete is
Pete, I'm smarter than everyone else, and I want you to know that.
very smart as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But can his ego? Oh, never mind. Sorry.
No.
Sorry. I do. There's a lot of patriarchy in Pete. So
but you know what? Like we said, we'll support whoever comes through.
we're definitely vote blue no matter who after we go through the convention.
Yeah.
And we may have a brokered convention because I don't think any of them are going to go in with 1,991 delegates. And the reason, and here's the best explanation I can give to you. If you have 1,800 delegates, you have a plurality. You don't have the majority. Enough people have voted against you rather than for you that you don't have
A mandate.
You don't have a mandate. That's why even if you have 1,900, you don't have the mandate. You have to have the 1,991 to have a mandate to be the standard bearer for the party. Anything less than that means that you've just got a plurality that more people voted against than for. So that's why it's so important for us, if we go into a brokered convention, to accept the process, because the process is there to help us stay organized. And all the candidates agreed to the process before they became candidates. So they can't say, well, now I've got 1,700 delegates and I think I should get it. That's not how this works. If anything we've learned in the last 3 years is that process is important. It is imperative.
If you don't like process, advocate to change it the correct way. Don't twist what it is supposed to be. That is the problem that we have right now. That is...
Yeah.
that is where we found that our laws, our legislation, our framework is also very vulnerable and susceptible.
Because we don't trust and we don't put the process to work for us. With the current president, changes the process, changes the rules, changes the not legislation, but he changes everything to fit his narrative.
And it's not technically overtly, well, it is technically, but it's not
dangerous.
like hit you with a baseball bat bad enough to get rid of them. So
It's
reality
dangerous.
is being twisted.
Yes. So what we need to do is find somebody who can follow the rules, follow the process.
Who do you think would tell you the truth? That's an excellent question. I think that we need to ask ourselves as well. Not just who would handle those crisis situations.
So picture those candidates up on the stage. I don't think Michael Bloomberg would tell you the truth if it wouldn't financially benefit him.
Yeah. And I'm talking, I prefer the here's what the reality is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be easy, but we're doing this and this, and here's what you can do. That is the type of reality that I prefer.
Right.
And when I think about that, I think about Joe Biden saying it, and I think he would say something like that.
Yeah.
But I fear he doesn't have the... I don't know if I would believe it inherently, because he doesn't give me the most confidence as far as...
Him more than a few of the others for me. I mean, as a progressive, Tom Steyer was my second choice.
Yeah, me too.
Now, I mean, if somebody asks me my top three, I'm gonna sound like a Bernie bro. Warren. But after the convention, it'll be whoever. I'll have their sign out in my front yard. I'll be dancing around and cheering for whoever it is, because we cannot have 4 more years of Orange Caligula. We cannot.
We can't. And so I think if everyone really just went with their gut.
Yeah.
Who do they see telling you the truth?
Stop trying to game the system, because you cannot win this.
No.
You cannot win this. This is not a Las Vegas bet. I know, I said bet.
That's okay. All right. But we just want you to remember your vote does matter. And Super Tuesday, a lot of delegates are going to come out of the woodwork, but there will still be a lot more delegates to get. We have other major
And don't forget when
states.
you vote, to vote for your candidates' delegates to go too. Don't forget to fill in those little squares. In Illinois, we have paper ballots. We have to fill in the squares, whatever they have in your state. Make sure that you vote for your delegates as well, because those delegates have to get to the convention in order to get the platform, to get their person, all of this stuff. That's also important. And when you're done voting on the front page, we have
Flip it over
and fill in the back. If you haven't done your research on who your judge candidates are, who your coroner candidates are, who any of your candidates are, Ballotpedia. So .org. Just look there, and it'll help you look at the candidates and decide on a local level as well as a national level who fits your ideals better.
Absolutely.
Google their name.
Who do you believe we need?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you believe would be honest with us, even if it hurt?
Well, and we're gonna.
That's how I'll make my decision.
Some of this is gonna hurt, because we're hemorrhaging right now. We're hemorrhaging democracy. And sometimes that triage is a little painful, but we're going to have to get a hold of it. We got to get on top of this. The rise of nationalism around the world and the fall of democracies around the world is at a staggering, epic level. There's never been a democracy that has lasted as long as ours. And we have to decide, this election will decide, is it worth fighting for? Or do we want to go to an aristocracy or plutocracy? Kleptocracy, sorry.
There's so many ocracies that aren't really good, that we are flowing down that path, too many of them.
Well, I look at this and I think we have an opportunity here to save our democracy, but we all have to get in the boat and paddle at the same time. And we can't be deciding that we have to go different directions after the convention. We have to decide that the best way to go is not paddling against the current. It has to be going with the parameters, the structure that we have already with the Constitution, and rebuild our rebuild our democracy by using the process that's in place.
And I have one more thought,
Mm-hmm.
and that is about, how everyone is saying that Bernie, should he get it, would be billed as a socialist, a communist, blah, blah, blah.
Bernie
blah.
is not a Russian asset. Don't fall
Listen,
for that.
Listen
Don't fall
to
for that.
me.
Yeah.
Even Joe Biden would be called a socialist, communist.
Even Bloomberg.
Even Bloomberg would be called a socialist, communist, anti-capitalism. It does not matter who you choose. They will be billed and vilified and demonized using the words
Because they're
that they've
counting on you not
co-opted.
picking up a dictionary and reading what those words even mean.
So just remember that. That's my final hint.
Merriam-Webster's.
Go into
Online.
Super Tuesday.
It's free. I'm sorry.
When you go into Super Tuesday or Illinois shortly thereafter, don't be afraid to choose who you believe in,
Yeah.
who you think the country needs, who'll be honest with you, and the rest will fall into line. If
Right.
we're worried that those people who don't like Trump but are not going to vote Democratic because we have a certain candidate, that's not true. If there are people who aren't happy with him, it goes deeper than that.
Right.
So I think pick who your heart is and we'll move forward together.
I can't wait to see the platform that comes out, and I can't wait to see how Super Tuesday shakes out. Not everybody's candidate's going to come out on top, but I think we're going to see forward thinking for our country, and I think we're going to see the framework to rebuild our democracy within the framework our founders put in place.
So you Super Tuesday states, it's so important. Get out there, support your candidate. Don't think about who's going to win up against grumpy old white man.
Don't game the system. Just go
pick
with it.
with your heart.
Yep.
Pick with your head.
Yeah.
And mash the two, and we'll end up with a great presidential candidate.
We're gonna. I mean, I'm a volunteer for the convention. I'm so excited. They'll probably make me park cars, but I'm so excited to see this process unfold like we were excited to go see the
caucus.
The caucus. So I just want to learn new things and figure this out. And because they've always been so far away, this is my first time being able to experience this in person. I can't wait. And I deliberately wasn't a delegate because I was so undecided early on. So let that go for somebody who's like a diehard from the get-go.
You're right.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this gives you impetus to get out there. If you're like, I don't care who wins, care who wins the primary.
Because it'll help determine what happens to our party going forward.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in. Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com.
You can get us everywhere you get your favorite podcasts, including Demcast USA.
Apple, Stitcher.
iTunes.
Yeah.
Buzzsprout. YouTube. If you like to watch goofy faces, check us out on YouTube. Like, share, comment, please. We need you. And we hope you enjoy listening to us.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.